The top speed of the Bugatti Veyron is 253 miles an hour.
58, 206, I'm going faster than I can speak.
That's faster than a commercial plane takes off at. It's faster than a fighter jet takes off at.
There are moments that can break even the strongest people. Moments when you are only seconds away from achieving the dream you have chased for months, only for everything to disappear without warning. Imagine spending countless late nights fixing one problem after another, investing thousands of pounds, overcoming challenges that experts said were almost impossible, and finally standing at the edge of history. The engine is running. The runway is clear. The weather has finally turned in your favor. Every warning light has disappeared. Every repair has been completed. The special top speed mode is activated. All that is left is one push of the accelerator, one run, one unforgettable moment. But then, before the dream can even begin, everything suddenly goes silent. No loud explosion, no dramatic crash, no cloud of smoke rising into the sky, just complete silence. The kind of silence that instantly tells you something has gone terribly wrong. For a few seconds, nobody knows what happened. The excitement disappears. Confusion takes over. The finish line that seemed so close only moments earlier suddenly feels impossible to reach. What makes this story even more shocking is that this wasn't caused by a massive engine failure or a mistake behind the wheel. After everything this Bugatti had already survived, after every expensive repair and every impossible challenge that had already been beaten, the entire mission was stopped by something so unexpected that almost nobody saw it coming. That single moment changed what should have been the greatest day of Matt Armstrong's Bugatti journey into one of the most emotional chapters he has ever experienced. It wasn't simply another mechanical failure. It felt like the car itself was refusing to let him win. For months, millions of people had followed this incredible rebuild, watching a wrecked Bugatti slowly return to life piece by piece. Every victory made the final goal feel closer, and every obstacle made the story even more unbelievable. It seemed as if nothing could stop the project anymore. Yet sometimes the hardest challenge is the one waiting at the very end, when your guard is down and success feels certain. What happened on that runway left fans shocked, left Matt almost speechless, and raised one question that nobody expected to ask after everything he had already overcome. Was this simply terrible luck? Or was this legendary hypercar about to test him one last time before finally allowing him to achieve the dream he had worked so hard to reach? Before we answer that question, we need to go back and understand everything that happened before this unforgettable day. Because without knowing the full journey, it is impossible to understand why this single moment hurt so much. To understand why that moment on the runway felt so devastating, you have to go back to where this final chapter truly began. Long before Matt Armstrong sat behind the wheel, long before the famous top speed key was turned, and long before the car suddenly went silent, there was one simple goal in his mind. He didn't just want to repair Bugatti Veyron. He wanted to prove that the impossible could be made possible. When he first bought the damaged hypercar, many people believed the project would end in failure. Some thought the repair costs would become too expensive. Others believed certain parts would be impossible to find. There were even people who argued that only Bugatti's own technicians had the knowledge and equipment needed to bring such a complex machine back to life. But Matt has never built his reputation by choosing the easy path. His channel became popular because he enjoys taking on projects that most people would never even consider. Every difficult rebuild became another opportunity to learn, improve, and surprise the people who doubted him. The Bugatti Veyron, however, was different from anything he had worked on before. This wasn't just another fast sports car. It was one of the most advanced production cars ever created, filled with technology that pushed engineering to its limits. Every system inside the car worked together with incredible precision. A small fault in one area could affect something completely different somewhere else. That meant every repair required patience, careful testing, and a willingness to solve problems that had no simple answers. Even after getting the car back on the road, Matt knew his work was far from finished. There was still one challenge that stood above everything else: the legendary top speed run. For years, the Bugatti Veyron had been known around the world because of its incredible performance. Reaching more than 250 miles per hour wasn't simply about having a powerful engine. The car had entered a special driving mode designed specifically for extreme speed. Suspension settings changed. Aerodynamics adjusted automatically. Safety systems checked that everything was working exactly as it should. It was a process that made the Veyron feel almost like an aircraft preparing for takeoff instead of a normal road car. Ever since rebuilding the vehicle, Matt dreamed about seeing his own Bugatti reach that stage. It wasn't about breaking records or showing off. It was about completing the story. After investing so much time, effort, and determination into bringing the car back from what many believed was beyond repair, the top speed run became the perfect ending to an incredible journey. It would prove not only that the Bugatti looked beautiful again, but that it could also perform exactly the way its engineers intended. That single run represented months of hard work, hundreds of hours spent inside the workshop, and countless moments of frustration that had slowly turned into hope. Everything was leading toward that one unforgettable day. But before Matt could even think about driving faster than 250 miles per hour, he still had several important jobs to finish. Some were cosmetic, making the car look worthy of its legendary name. Others were mechanical, ensuring every system worked perfectly under extreme conditions. At the time, nobody realized that these final preparations would become the last peaceful moments before another unexpected twist changed everything once again. The first thing Matt decided to change had nothing to do with horsepower or engine performance. Instead, he focused on the way the Bugatti looked. After all the months spent repairing damaged parts and solving mechanical problems, he wanted the car to finally look as special as it felt. Up until that point, the Veyron had been covered in a white wrap that helped hide its unfinished appearance during the rebuild. It had served its purpose well, but now the project was entering its final stage. The car deserved a fresh look before making its biggest appearance yet. As the white wrap was carefully removed, the original colors underneath slowly came into view. The body revealed a mix of light blue and dark blue paint, a color combination that immediately reminded people of Bugatti's classic design language. While many fans thought it looked good, Matt wasn't completely convinced. He appreciated the history behind the colors, but he wanted something that reflected his own style while still respecting the car's identity. Instead of completely changing the design, he searched for a balance between modern and classic. His idea was simple but effective. The roof, front bumper, rear bumper, and engine cover would keep their deep dark blue finish, while the doors, side blades, mirrors, and front wings would receive a beautiful satin metallic silver wrap. The combination created a clean and premium appearance that instantly transformed the entire car. The silver sections reflected light in a smooth, elegant way, while the dark blue areas gave the Bugatti a powerful and timeless presence. Chrome details around the body added another level of luxury, making the Veyron look every bit like the million-pound hypercar it was born to be. But the improvements didn't stop there. The rear bumper, which had previously needed extensive repair work, had finally returned from the body shop, looking almost factory new. Every damaged section had been carefully restored until it was nearly impossible to tell that it had ever been broken. The carbon fiber rear splitter also received special attention. Instead of replacing this expensive component, it was professionally repaired, reinforced, and refinished to restore both its strength and its appearance. This saved a huge amount of money, while keeping an original Bugatti part on the car. Matt also replaced the old black wheels with a fresh set of stylish Veyron wheels that completely changed the Bugatti stance. The new design made the car appear lower, wider, and even more aggressive without losing its elegant character. Fresh brake ducts were installed to improve cooling, ensuring the braking system would perform properly during high-speed driving. Every small detail mattered because this wasn't just another car show project. The Bugatti was being prepared for one of the most demanding tests any road car could face. By the time all these changes were complete, it almost looked impossible to believe this was the same damaged Veyron that had arrived months earlier needing endless repairs. The transformation was incredible. Friends, fans, and even people who had doubted the project started admitting that the car looked absolutely stunning. For the first time since buying it, Matt could stand back, admire his work, and see a Bugatti that truly looked complete. Yet deep down, he knew appearances meant very little if the car couldn't deliver where it mattered most. Looking fast was one thing. Proving that it could safely unlock its legendary top speed was an entirely different challenge. And the next obstacle standing in his way was far more complicated than choosing paint colors or fitting new wheels. It involved one of the most mysterious features ever built into a production car, a small key that had become almost legendary among Bugatti owners around the world. For most cars, starting the engine is as simple as pressing a button or turning a key, but the Bugatti Veyron has always been different. Hidden inside the cabin is a second key that has fascinated car fans for years. It is known as the speed key, and without it, the Veyron will never unlock its full potential. Even though the car is already incredibly fast in its normal driving mode, Bugatti designed a separate system for extreme speeds. Before attempting to go beyond 250 miles per hour, the driver must bring the car to a complete stop, insert the speed key into a special slot beside the driver's seat, and activate top speed mode. The moment the key is turned, the car begins checking itself. The suspension lowers closer to the ground to improve stability. The rear wing changes its position to reduce drag while still producing the right amount of downforce. Different electronic systems confirm that everything is working exactly as it should. Only after every safety check is complete does the Bugatti allow the driver to access its maximum performance. This process made the speed key feel almost magical. It wasn't just another key. It became part of the Veyron's legend. Over the years, many people believe the speed key contains secret electronics, special programming, or a hidden security chip that only Bugatti could provide. Because of this mystery, stories about replacement keys became almost unbelievable. Some reports claim that ordering a new one through Bugatti could cost well over $10,000. For most owners, that wasn't something they ever wanted to test. Matt, however, has built his career on asking simple questions that other people never think to ask. Instead of accepting the common belief, he decided to investigate the system himself. He carefully examined the speed key slot, expecting to find an electronic reader, a transponder sensor, or some advanced security device hidden inside. Surprisingly, he found none of those things. The slot was much simpler than almost everyone had imagined. It appeared to work as a mechanical switch rather than an electronic security system. That discovery completely changed the situation. If there was no electronic authentication taking place, then perhaps the only thing that mattered was the physical shape of the key itself. To test the idea, Matt visited a locksmith with his original speed key. The blade was scanned using modern cutting equipment, and an exact duplicate was produced. It looked almost identical to the original, but the real question remained unanswered. Would it actually work inside one of the most advanced hypercars ever built? Back at the workshop, the moment of truth arrived. Matt inserted the newly cut key into the slot and slowly turned it. Within seconds, the dashboard confirmed that top speed mode had been activated. There were no warning messages. No security errors. No refusal from the car. The copied key worked exactly like the original. It was one of the biggest surprises of the entire rebuild. A feature surrounded by years of mystery had turned out to be much simpler than anyone expected. Instead of needing an expensive factory replacement, a carefully cut duplicate had achieved the same result for a tiny fraction of the cost. It was another reminder that sometimes the biggest myths disappear when someone is willing to investigate instead of making assumptions. For Matt, this discovery felt like another major victory. One more obstacle had been removed from the path toward the final top speed attempt. But while the speed key mystery had finally been solved, several mechanical problems were still hiding beneath the surface, waiting to test his patience one more time before the Bugatti could be considered truly ready. Although solving the speed key mystery was a huge success, Matt knew it would mean nothing if the Bugatti could not perform reliably on the road. A car capable of more than 250 miles per hour cannot have even the smallest mechanical problem. At those speeds, every sensor, every electrical connection, and every moving part must work exactly as the engineers intended. One tiny fault that might seem unimportant during normal driving could become a serious issue when the car is pushed to its absolute limit. That is why Matt refused to rush the project. Instead of celebrating too early, he carefully inspected the Bugatti from front to back, determined to fix every problem before heading to the runway. It turned out to be one of the smartest decisions he could have made because the next few days uncovered several unexpected issues. The first warning came when the engine began showing signs of a misfire. Anyone who has worked on performance cars knows that a misfire can be caused by many different problems. It could be a damaged spark plug, a failed ignition coil, a fuel delivery issue, poor compression, or even a much more serious internal engine failure. On a normal family car, a misfire is already frustrating. On a Bugatti Veyron with its enormous 16-cylinder engine, it can sound terrifying. Considering how expensive Bugatti parts are, many people immediately imagine the worst. Matt connected his diagnostic equipment and carefully scanned the vehicle for fault codes. The system pointed directly to cylinder number 16. At first, that result created even more questions than answers. Finding the faulty cylinder was only the beginning. The real challenge was discovering why it had stopped working properly. Instead of replacing expensive components without knowing the true cause, Matt decided to investigate step by step. He removed covers, inspected the ignition system, and carefully checked every connection around the affected cylinder. After spending hours searching for the answer, he finally noticed something surprisingly simple. The ignition coil had not been fully pushed onto the spark plug. It was sitting just high enough to create an unreliable connection. That tiny gap was enough to cause a misfire and trigger warning messages on the dashboard. It was almost unbelievable that such a small mistake could create a problem that sounded so serious. Once the ignition coil was correctly seated, the engine immediately returned to running smoothly. The fault code disappeared and the powerful 16-cylinder engine sounded healthy once again. For Matt, this was a huge relief. Instead of facing a repair that could have cost thousands of pounds, the solution required nothing more than careful inspection and attention to detail. The experience also highlighted an important lesson that many mechanics understand well. Expensive cars do not always suffer from expensive problems. Sometimes the smallest oversight can create symptoms that look far more dramatic than they really are. However, while fixing the misfire brought confidence back to the project, it also reminded Matt that hidden issues could appear at any time. If something as small as an improperly fitted ignition coil could stop one cylinder from working correctly, there was no guarantee that another unexpected problem wasn't waiting somewhere else inside the car. With the engine finally running perfectly again, Matt hoped the worst was behind him. Unfortunately, the Bugatti still had several more surprises in store, and the next one would prove that even a tiny 5-amp fuse could bring another part of this incredible machine to a complete stop. Just when it seemed like the Bugatti was finally becoming more reliable, another unexpected problem appeared out of nowhere. This time, it had nothing to do with the engine. There were no strange noises, no warning lights suggesting a major mechanical failure, and no obvious signs that something serious had gone wrong. Yet, one important feature of the car had suddenly stopped working. The indicators no longer flashed. On the surface, that might not sound like a huge problem, especially on a hypercar built for incredible speed. But for Matt, it was another reminder that every system on the Veyron had to work perfectly before attempting a top speed run. Even a small electrical fault could prevent the car from passing its own safety checks or point to a deeper issue hidden somewhere inside the complex wiring system. Rather than assuming the worst, Matt approached the problem with the same calm mindset that had helped him overcome so many challenges already. He began checking the obvious possibilities first. He inspected the indicator stalk, looked over the wiring, and searched for anything that seemed damaged or disconnected. Everything appeared normal. That only made the mystery even more confusing. If nothing looked broken, why had the entire indicator system suddenly stopped working? Instead of giving up,